The Galactic Council's grand chamber hung suspended in space, its crystalline walls refracting starlight into rainbow cascades across the assembled delegates. Representatives from over 3,000 civilizations sat in concentric rings, their forms ranging from crystalline entities to gaseous clouds contained in advanced environmental suits. This was meant to be a routine diplomatic gathering, another tedious discussion about trade routes and minor border disputes. Nobody expected Earth to be mentioned at all. The planet was classified as a developing world, barely worth monitoring, which made the next few moments all the more extraordinary. Dr. Emma Mitchell stood before them, the sole human representative invited as part of a cultural exchange program. Her presence was meant to be ceremonial, a token gesture toward including emerging species in galactic affairs. She looked almost comically small among the towering alien forms, her business suit and neat blonde hair marking her as almost painfully ordinary. That was until she stumbled mid-sentence during her prepared speech about Earth's progress toward clean energy. Her eyes went wide, pupils dilating as she gripped the floating podium. "Everyone needs to evacuate the eastern quarter of the chamber," she said, her voice carrying an authority that made even the eldest council members pause. Now, High Counselor Vectrix, a being composed of living crystal, leaned forward. "Dr. Mitchell, you forget your place. This chamber has stood for 10,000 years. Its shields will fail in approximately 40 seconds when the solar flare hits." Emma interrupted, her voice steady despite the sweat beading on her forehead. "It's not a normal flare. Something's wrong with its quantum signature. Your shields aren't calibrated for this specific frequency." The chamber erupted in dismissive murmurs, but Zax 427, the council's xenobiologist, was already accessing the sensor networks. The alien's color-shifting membrane rippled with shock as data streamed in. "Impossible," Zax 427 whispered, but was already triggering evacuation protocols. "The flare, it's exactly as she described. But our sensors are only detecting it now." "How did?" The eastern quarter's shields flickered and died as a wave of quantum-corrupted plasma washed over the chamber. The emergency containment systems engaged just in time, saving dozens of delegates who had heeded Emma's warning. Those who hadn't, their empty seats stood as testament to human intuition. Hours later, after the emergency had passed, Emma sat in a private chamber facing the full council. She looked exhausted, but there was something else in her expression, a hint of relief, as if a weight had been lifted. "This is the third documented case," Zax 427 announced, displaying holographic records. 2 months ago, a human cargo pilot refused to depart from a routine shipping lane. Hours later, a quantum filament passed through that exact route. Before that, a human colony evacuated a small moon 3 days before an unpredictable dimensional rift appeared. The statistical probability of these being coincidences is 0. High Counselor Vectrix finished, its crystalline form vibrating with concern. "Dr. Mitchell, how did you know?" Emma smiled faintly. "I saw it. Not clearly, not like watching a video. It was more like remembering something that hasn't happened yet. We get feelings like this sometimes. Hunches. Intuition. Most humans experience it." The chamber fell silent. The idea that an entire species could casually access quantum information without technology was more than alarming. It was terrifying. Every civilization present had spent millennia developing massive computers to process quantum data, and here was a species doing it unconsciously. "This merits immediate investigation," Vectrix declared. "Zax 427, you will return to Earth with Dr. Mitchell. Discover how humans are accessing quantum information." And the High Counselor's voice dropped to a worried harmonic. "Determine if this is an isolated phenomenon, or if humanity harbors other capabilities we've overlooked." As Emma was escorted out, she felt the weight of 3,000 alien gazes following her. She kept humanity's secret for as long as she could. But now, As she caught fragments of the delegates' worried whispers, she realized the galaxy was about to discover that human dreams held more power than all their quantum computers combined. The real question was, were they ready for what that revelation would bring? The sleep research lab at the Montana Neurological Institute hummed with anticipation. Bank after bank of advanced monitoring equipment surrounded a simple hospital bed where 24-year-old Jason Torres lay sleeping. Dr. Emma Mitchell stood at her observation station, dark circles under her eyes betraying nights of sleepless research since her return from the Galactic Council. Brainwave patterns holding steady in delta phase, her assistant called out. Quantum field fluctuations increasing. Emma nodded, watching the holographic display as it tracked Jason's neural activity. He was their most promising subject, a lucid dreamer who could consistently recall his dream experiences in vivid detail. But tonight was different. Tonight, they were testing a theory that had been keeping her awake since her close call at the council chambers. "Jason, can you hear me?" She spoke into the comm system. "What do you see?" His voice came through dreamy but clear. I'm not on Earth anymore. There's a city. The buildings are made of something like living crystal. 3 moons in the sky, all different colors." Emma's hands trembled as she pulled up the Galactic database she'd been granted access to. She entered the parameters Jason described, and her breath caught. "Jason, look for a central spire with a double helix pattern." "Yes. It's right there, glowing purple and—" He suddenly stopped. "There's some kind of commotion. People are running. Something about a containment breach." The air in the lab shifted, taking on a metallic tang. Emma spun around just as reality seemed to fold in on itself, depositing Zax 427's iridescent form in the middle of her lab. The alien xenobiologist's membrane rippled with urgent patterns of blue and red. The containment breach. Zax 427's translator produced perfectly accented English, is happening right now on Crystalia Prime, exactly as your subject describes it. That's impossible. The event is occurring in real time, 16 light-years away. The lab staff froze, but Emma stepped forward, decades of research crystallizing into a single moment of clarity. "No, it's not impossible. It's what we've been doing all along." She gestured to the neural activity displays. "Look at these patterns. They're not random firing neurons. They're quantum entanglement signatures." Zax 427 moved closer to the displays, its specialized sensory organs extending to analyze the data. But this would mean that human consciousness naturally interfaces with quantum fields during sleep. Emma finished. "We're not just processing local quantum information. We're accessing a network that spans the entire universe." She pulled up more records on her holoscreen. The prophetic dreams, the inexplicable gut feelings, the artistic inspirations that seem to come from nowhere. We're not generating these things. We're receiving them through a quantum network we didn't even know existed. Jason stirred in his sleep. The breach. They contained it. Some kind of exotic particle reaction. But there's something else. His voice took on an odd resonance. Patterns. So many patterns, like the universe is made of whispers, and I can finally hear them. Zax 427's color shifted to a deep purple of concern. If what you're suggesting is true, every human on Earth is a natural quantum receiver. Your entire species has been unconsciously processing information that our most advanced civilizations need massive computers to handle. The alien scientist's voice dropped lower. The council must be informed. No. Emma stepped between Zax 427 and the door. Not yet. Think about what happened at the council when they just suspected we could sense quantum information. If they learn the full truth, that every human is unconsciously connected to a galaxy-wide quantum network, some of them will see us as a threat. They already do, Zax 427 replied softly. Why do you think I was sent to investigate so quickly? The alien's membrane swirled with complex patterns. But perhaps we could work together first. Understand this capability before others learn of it. Emma looked back at Jason, still peacefully sleeping while his mind roamed across light years. She thought of 7 billion humans on Earth, each carrying this gift, unaware of the storm that was coming. "Agreed," she said finally. "But we need to hurry. Something tells me we don't have much time." The discovery happened in the unlikeliest of places, a limestone cave in southern France. Emma stood before ancient cave paintings, her headlamp illuminating ochre figures that seemed to dance in the flickering light. Zax 427 hovered beside her, specialized sensors probing the prehistoric artwork. These patterns, the alien scientist's membrane pulsed with excitement. They're not just art. They're quantum resonance maps. Emma reached out, her fingers trembling as they traced lines that their ancestors had painted 40,000 years ago. They weren't just drawing what they saw in their world, she whispered. They were drawing what they saw in their dreams. The quantum network, they were trying to document it. Behind them, Jason Torres photographed every inch of the cave walls, his camera equipped with specialized quantum sensors borrowed from Zax 427's research equipment. "Dr. Mitchell, look at this." He pointed to a particular section where the ancient artists had painted a spiral of interconnected dots. "It matches the brainwave patterns from our sleep studies. Exactly matches them." Zax 427's form rippled with colors of revelation. The timing correlates with a massive gamma-ray burst that swept through this sector of the galaxy. According to our historical records, it originated from a quantum anomaly approximately 40,000 years ago. Emma's mind raced. The cosmic radiation. It must have altered human neural development at a crucial point in our evolution. Instead of killing us, it gave us quantum-sensitive neurons. She pulled up a holographic display of modern human brain scans. "Look here, in the thalamus. These structures we always thought were just sleep regulators. They're biological quantum receivers." The implications staggered them all into silence. Humanity hadn't just evolved conventional intelligence. They'd been accidentally gifted with hardware that let them tap directly into the quantum fabric of the universe. "This explains everything," Emma continued, her voice growing stronger with certainty. "The great leaps in human innovation throughout history, the inexplicable artistic inspirations, the scientific breakthroughs that seemed to come from nowhere. We weren't just thinking about these advances. We were receiving them through the quantum network during our dreams, processing possibilities from across multiple dimensions." Jason adjusted his camera settings. "But why didn't we realize this before? Why couldn't we detect it?" "Because we were looking for technology," Zax 427 answered, moving closer to examine a particularly intricate cave painting. "Every spacefaring race developed quantum computing through artificial means. Not one of us thought to look for biological quantum processors. The very idea seemed impossible." A soft chime interrupted them. Emma's quantum communicator, linked to their lab back in Montana. "Dr. Mitchell," her assistant's voice carried a note of urgency. "We've got company. 3 more alien ships just entered orbit. They're requesting permission to send research teams to the surface." Emma and Zax 427 exchanged worried looks. News was spreading faster than they'd hoped. "There's more," the assistant continued. "The sleepwalking incidents we've been tracking. They're increasing exponentially. Reports coming in from every continent. People getting up in the middle of the night, drawing complex mathematical equations, speaking languages they've never learned, solving problems in their sleep that supercomputers couldn't crack. The network is becoming more active." Zax 427's color shifted to a deep indigo of concern. "As if humanity's quantum connection is strengthening. But why now?" Emma stared at the ancient cave paintings, at the spiraling patterns that matched their modern brain scans. "Because we're finally paying attention to it. For 40,000 years, we treated our dreams as meaningless, our intuitions as unscientific. But now," she turned to face her companions, her expression both thrilled and terrified. "Now we know what we really are. Every human on Earth is part of the largest quantum computer in known space. We're not just processing information, we're connected to everything. The caves seemed to grow smaller, the weight of history pressing down on them. On the walls, their ancestors' quantum maps glowed faintly under Zax 427's scanning lights, as if acknowledging that their message had finally been understood. "We need to get back to the lab," Emma said firmly, "because either we learn to control this gift." She glanced at her communicator, still blinking with alerts about new ships entering orbit, or someone else will try to control it for us. The Montana Neurological Institute's parking lot had become an impromptu spaceport. 7 alien vessels of varying designs hovered above the asphalt, their anti-gravity fields wreaking havoc with the local wildlife. Inside, Emma's once quiet lab now buzzed with activity as representatives from 24 alien species argued over preliminary test results. "The human child's quantum processing capability exceeds our most advanced systems by a factor of 10, announced a Meridian researcher, their crystalline form vibrating with distress. The hologram displaying a sleeping 6-year-old's brain activity pulsed with complex patterns. And this is just one infant, processing information while dreaming about. I believe you call them unicorns." Emma watched from her office window as the aliens below erupted into another heated debate. Beside her, Zax 427's membrane had taken on a mottled pattern she'd learned to recognize as extreme worry. "The preservers are mobilizing their fleet," the xenobiologist reported quietly. "My sources in the council say they're pushing for an immediate quarantine of Earth, the harvesters." Zax 427 paused, colors shifting uncomfortably. "They're advocating for controlled sampling of human populations. They want to dissect us," Emma translated grimly. She turned as Jason burst into the office, tablet in hand. "Dr. Mitchell, you need to see this." He pulled up a news feed showing massive ships appearing in orbit. The decimeters just dropped out of quantum space. Their entire battle fleet. The decimators, a species that believed in eliminating any potential threats to galactic stability. Emma's hands clenched into fists. "How long?" "Hours, maybe less, before the fighting starts." Jason's voice shook. "The preservers are claiming defensive positions around Earth. The harvesters are demanding access to our major population centers. And the decimators," he swallowed hard, "they're calling for a clean slate protocol." "Extinction," Zax 427 clarified unnecessarily. Emma's quantum communicator chimed with an incoming council transmission. The holographic form of High Counselor Vectrix materialized in the office, its crystalline structure clouded with concern. "Dr. Mitchell, I trust you understand the gravity of your situation. 3 of the most powerful factions in known space are converging on your world. The Council cannot intervene without risking full-scale war." "We haven't done anything wrong," Emma protested. "We didn't ask for this ability." "Your existence is the threat," Vectrix responded. "Every human child that dreams is processing quantum data that could reshape reality itself. The preservers fear you'll accidentally destroy the galaxy. The harvesters want to weaponize you. And the decimators." The High Counselor's form flickered. "They believe the only safe human is a dead human." A distant rumble shook the building. Through the window, Emma watched as more ships appeared in the sky. Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet, cobbled together from reversed-engineered alien tech. "We're trying to evacuate major cities," Jason reported, reading urgent updates. "But there's panic. The harvester ships are starting to move into position. Social media is exploding with reports of people having the same dream. They're seeing the attack before it happens." Emma's eyes widened. "Wait. The dreams. They're all seeing the same thing." Zax 427 rushed to a monitoring station. "Quantum coherence is spiking across the global human consciousness network. It's as if..." The alien scientists' colors swirled with amazement. "They're linking together. All of them. Every sleeping human on Earth is processing the same quantum information." "Because we're under threat," Emma whispered. "Our gift is evolving. Adapting." She turned to the High Counselor's hologram. Vectrix, you have to buy us time. We're on the verge of understanding something huge. Another explosion rocked the building. Through the window, energy weapons began to light up the sky. There is no more time, Dr. Mitchell, Vectrix said sadly. The Decimators have launched their first strike. May whatever gods you believe in have mercy on your world. As the hologram faded, Emma looked at Jason and Zax 427. Get everyone to the sleep lab. Now. Why? Jason asked, already moving. Because if humanity's going to survive this, Emma said, her voice hard with determination, we need to wake up in more ways than one. The Decimators struck with surgical precision. Their weapon wasn't a planet killer or an invasion force. It was elegantly, terrifyingly subtle. A quantum-engineered virus that targeted the sleep centers of the human brain. Emma watched in horror as the first cases appeared. A teacher in Tokyo stopped mid-lecture, confused about a basic math concept she'd taught for 20 years. An artist in Paris stared at a blank canvas, unable to conjure the visions that had once flowed so easily. Children worldwide reported the same thing. Their dreams were going silent. It's spreading exponentially, Jason reported from his station in the now fortified sleep lab. Outside, energy weapons still lit up the Montana sky as Earth's defenders clashed with Harvester scout ships. Neural quantum coherence is dropping globally. We're losing our connection to the network. Emma stood before a wall of monitors, each showing a different crisis. Moscow's Quantum Physics Institute had lost breakthrough equations. Silicon Valley reported programmers unable to visualize code structures. The Large Hadron Collider's theoretical team couldn't grasp concepts they'd understood yesterday. This is worse than we thought. Zax 427's membrane had turned a sickly gray. The virus isn't just blocking your dreams. It's severing humanity's quantum neural pathways. You're losing abilities you never knew you had. A new alert flashed red on the main screen. Emma's blood ran cold as she read the report. No, this is impossible. What is it? Jason asked, moving to her side. Space-time distortions, she whispered. They're appearing randomly around Earth. Small ones at first, but growing. She pulled up a theoretical model, her hands shaking. The quantum framework that maintains local reality. It's destabilizing. Zax 427 rushed to verify the readings, colors pulsing with alarm. This makes no sense. Unless... The alien scientist froze. Unless your species wasn't just using the quantum network. You were maintaining it. The implications hit Emma like a physical blow. We're quantum anchors, she breathed. Human consciousness, our dreams, they'd been helping stabilize local space-time since we evolved the ability. And now that we're losing that connection, reality itself is unraveling. Zax 427 finished. Through the lab's windows, they could see the first visible signs. Shimmering distortions in the air, like heat waves but wrong somehow. Objects flickering in and out of existence. The laws of physics starting to hiccup. Emma's quantum communicator crackled to life. High Counselor Vectrix's voice was strained with unprecedented emotion. Dr. Mitchell, the Decimators, they didn't understand. None of us did. Your species needs to be reconnected to the network immediately, or this sector of the galaxy will collapse into quantum chaos. We're trying. Emma slammed her fist on the console. But the virus. Dr. Mitchell. Jason called out urgently. Look at this brain scan. On his screen, a human neural pattern flickered weakly. But there was something else. A new structure forming, like the brain was rewiring itself. It's adaptive evolution. Zax 427 moved closer, analyzing the pattern. The virus is forcing human consciousness to find new quantum pathways. Your brains are trying to bypass the blocked connections. Emma stared at the scan. An idea forming. A desperate, dangerous idea. What if that's the answer? What if we need to force our evolution? Push ourselves to access these abilities consciously instead of just through dreams. The risk of neurological damage, Zax 427 began, is better than the certainty of reality unraveling, Emma cut in. She turned to Jason. Get me a neural interface. I'm going to try something. Dr. Mitchell. Vectrix's hologram flickered with static. Whatever you're planning, hurry. The quantum distortions are approaching critical mass. Outside, the sky had taken on an impossible color. Physics was starting to break down at the macro level now. They had minutes, maybe less. Emma lay down on the scanning bed as Jason attached electrodes to her temples. She looked at her companions, her brilliant human assistant, and the alien scientist who'd become a friend. If this doesn't work, she said quietly, tell them we tried. Then she closed her eyes and prepared to dive consciously into the quantum realm that humanity had only ever touched in dreams. Emma plunged into darkness. Not the comfortable darkness of sleep, but something deeper, a void where reality itself seemed thin. The neural interface hummed against her temples, its alien technology trying to bridge the gap between conscious thought and quantum awareness. Neural patterns destabilizing. Jason's voice seemed to come from very far away. Her mind is trying to make connections that shouldn't be possible while conscious. She's going into quantum shock. Zax 427's worried tones filtered through. We need to. But Emma couldn't focus on their voices anymore. Something was happening. The darkness wasn't empty. It was alive with possibilities. She could see them, like threads of light connecting everything that was, is, or could be. The quantum network she'd only touched in dreams now spread before her conscious mind, in all its terrifying beauty. My God, she whispered, though her physical lips didn't move. We never understood. It's not just information, it's everything. Through the quantum field, she could feel them all, billions of human minds, their quantum connections fraying under the decimator virus. But she could also feel something else. New pathways forming. Evolution accelerating. Humanity wasn't dying. They were adapting. In a hospital in Mumbai, a comatose girl suddenly sat up, her eyes glowing with quantum energy as she drew perfect star charts of distant galaxies. In a Sao Paulo apartment, a teenager solved quantum equations in his sleep that would revolutionize physics. Across the globe, humans were forcing new neural pathways open, desperate to maintain their connection to the universe itself. The readings are off the scale. Jason's voice broke through again. Dr. Mitchell, your brain is reconfiguring itself. If you don't pull back. No. Emma pushed harder, deeper into the quantum realm. I can see it now. The virus. It's not killing our ability. It's forcing us to evolve faster, to do consciously what we once did only in dreams. The pain was extraordinary as her mind forged new connections, but she couldn't stop. Through the quantum field, she could see the decimator ships in orbit, could feel the deadly elegance of their viral weapon. But more importantly, she could see how to counter it. With conscious effort, Emma reached out through the quantum network. She felt others joining her, thousands, then millions of humans, their minds linking together in ways that should have taken thousands of years to develop naturally. The virus had backed them into a corner, and humanity was doing what it did best, adapting to survive. Impossible. Vectrix's holographic voice cut through her consciousness. The quantum distortions, they're stabilizing. But the readings suggest, this can't be. The human quantum network, Zax 427, translated with awe. It's not just re-establishing itself. It's growing stronger. They're accessing it consciously now. Emma opened her eyes, but she didn't lose the connection. The quantum realm remained visible to her new consciousness, a layer of reality she could now see and touch at will. Around her, the lab's equipment sparked and sputtered, overwhelmed by the energy flowing through her evolved neural pathways. We did it, she managed, sitting up despite the splitting headache. The virus forced us to evolve, to access abilities that should have taken millennia to develop. She looked at her hands, watching quantum possibilities shimmer around them. We're awake now, really awake. Through her new awareness, she could feel others worldwide experiencing the same awakening. Humanity was transforming, their consciousness expanding to encompass realms of existence they'd only touched in dreams. Jason helped her stand, his own eyes beginning to shine with quantum awareness. Dr. Mitchell, the decimator ships. They're pulling back. The harvesters too. I think they're afraid. They should be, Emma said, but there was no menace in her voice, only wonder. We're not what they thought we were. We're not what we thought we were. She turned to Zax 427, whose membrane swirled with colors she could now see represented pure astonishment. And we're not finished evolving yet. Above them, the impossible color faded from the sky as reality stabilized. But something else remained. A new awareness, a consciousness that would forever change what it meant to be human. Now, Emma said, straightening despite her exhaustion, let's show them what humanity can really do. The Decimator fleet struck at dawn, their quantum phase weapons designed to shred the fabric of space-time itself. They expected Earth to shatter like glass. Instead, they found something unprecedented, humanity waiting for them. Emma stood in the Montana Lab's control center, her evolved consciousness seamlessly connected to the quantum network. Through it, she could see every ship, every weapon, every possibility branching out across space and time. But she wasn't alone. Millions of awakened humans shared her vision, their minds linked in a vast defensive grid that spanned the globe. They're opening fire, Jason reported unnecessarily. Everyone could feel it through the network. The Decimator's first salvo, enough firepower to crack a planet, vanished mid-trajectory. Emma, along with thousands of others, had simply shifted the energy into parallel dimensions where it could do no harm. Physics wasn't just a set of rules anymore. It was a language, and humanity had become fluent. Impossible. The Decimator commander's transmission boomed across all frequencies. No species can manipulate quantum probability at this scale. We're not just manipulating it, Emma responded, her voice carried instantly across space through quantum entanglement. We're part of it. We always were. Through the network, she felt a surge of pride from other humans. This is your only warning. Leave Earth space. The Harvester fleet chose that moment to launch their own attack, believing the humans distracted. Their biomechanical ships deployed capture nets designed to entrap and collect specimens. The nets passed harmlessly through empty space. Their targets had quantum shifted several microseconds out of sync with normal time. Fascinating. Zax 427 observed from the lab, monitoring the battles across multiple dimensions. They still think they're fighting a technological species. They don't understand what you've become. Emma nodded. Through the quantum network, she could feel humanity's collective consciousness expanding, growing more sophisticated with each passing second. Children were solving grand unified field equations in their sleep. Artists were painting in 5 dimensions. Scientists were grasping concepts that their own theories had said were impossible to comprehend. The preservers made their move next, attempting to establish a quantum containment field around Earth. It was like trying to build a cage around the wind. Humanity simply existed in too many states at once now, probability itself bending around their collective will. The Decimators are preparing their final weapon, Jason announced, his evolved senses picking up the energy buildup. Some kind of reality bomb. Emma reached out through the network, touching the minds of the Decimator crew. She felt their fear, their desperate need to destroy what they couldn't control. With a thought, she shared that awareness with every awakened human. Their response was unanimous and unprecedented. Across Earth, millions of conscious minds reached out together. Not to destroy, not to counterattack, but to share. They opened their quantum awareness to their would-be destroyers, letting them feel what it was like to be connected to everything, to understand reality at its deepest level. The effect was instantaneous. The Decimator crews froze, overwhelmed by their first taste of true quantum consciousness. The Harvester biologicals began to evolve on contact with human awareness. The Preserver's crystalline forms resonated with new understanding. They're standing down. Zax 427's colors rippled with amazement. All of them. You're not just defeating them. You're transforming them. High Counselor Vectrix's hologram appeared in the lab, its crystalline structure vibrating with new frequencies. Dr. Mitchell. Humanity, we were so wrong. This gift you carry, it was never meant to be contained. Emma smiled, feeling the quantum network pulse with possibility. Around Earth, ships were powering down their weapons. The fear was being replaced by curiosity, by wonder, by the first true understanding between species in galactic history. No, she agreed, it wasn't, but it was meant to be shared. Through the network, she felt humanity's collective agreement. We're ready to teach anyone who wants to learn. Not how to use technology to process quantum data, but how to become part of the quantum reality itself. The High Counselor's form shimmered. And those who refuse to learn. Emma's expression was serene but firm. They'll have to accept that humanity is awake now. And we will never sleep again, not in the way they feared. Above Earth, the attacking fleets began to transform from an invasion force into the first students of humanity's greatest lesson. Consciousness itself was the ultimate technology. 1 year later, the Montana Neurological Institute had become something its founders could never have imagined. The sprawling campus now housed the Quantum Consciousness Academy, where beings from across the galaxy came to learn what humanity had discovered by accident. Emma stood in the central courtyard, watching as crystalline preservers meditated alongside gaseous meridians and even a few reformed decimators, their consciousness expanding beyond physical forms. Above them, the sky shimmered with quantum possibilities, visible now to anyone who had learned to truly see. The latest results are encouraging. Zax 427 approached, their membrane glowing with the subtle patterns of an awakened being. 87% of species show some capacity for quantum consciousness. It just needed activation. Like a key turning in a lock, Emma nodded, feeling the quantum network pulse with billions of minds, both human and alien. We weren't unique in having the ability. We were just the first to be forced to use it. Jason joined them, no longer just her assistant but one of the Academy's leading instructors. The children are the most amazing, he said, gesturing to a playground where young beings of various species played together, their minds touching across quantum fields. They don't even think about it. To them, this is just natural. A gentle chime announced the arrival of High Counselor Vectrix, their crystalline form now permanently altered by quantum awareness. The Council has finished its review, they announced. The changes spreading through the galaxy. They're beyond anything we could have predicted. Emma felt it through the network. Art that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, music that played across quantum frequencies, scientific breakthroughs that were revolutionizing understanding of reality itself. Humanity's gift had sparked a renaissance that transcended traditional boundaries between science, art, and consciousness. We've had our challenges, she acknowledged, thinking of the species who had rejected the change, who had retreated to the galaxy's edges rather than face evolution. Not everyone wants to wake up. But enough do, Zax 427 pointed out. And those who aren't ready, the door remains open. Through the quantum network, Emma felt a surge of excitement from the research division. Dr. Sarah Chen, one of their leading scientists, had just helped a group of Harvester scholars achieve breakthrough awareness. The joy of discovery rippled through the collective consciousness, touching everyone who was connected. Did you ever imagine this? Jason asked, watching as a young decimator child showed a human student how to perceive 11 dimensions simultaneously. When you first connected consciously to the network. Emma smiled, remembering that desperate moment when the virus had forced humanity to evolve or die. No, she admitted. I was just trying to save Earth. But that's always been humanity's gift, hasn't it? We take our challenges and turn them into opportunities. We adapt, we grow, and we share what we learn. Vectrix's crystalline form sparkled with quantum energy. The galaxy trembled at Earth's secrets, they mused. But not for the reasons we feared. Your gift wasn't a weapon to be contained. It was a door waiting to be opened. And we're still opening new doors, Emma said, feeling another ripple through the network as somewhere, someone made a new discovery. Every day, we're finding new ways to perceive, to understand, to exist. Above them, the quantum sky danced with possibilities. Earth had become a beacon, drawing seekers from across space who yearned to expand their consciousness. The fear that had once threatened to destroy humanity had transformed into a hunger for understanding. Zax 427's colors shifted to patterns of contentment. The decimators called humans a threat to galactic stability, they observed. They were right, but not in the way they thought. You didn't destroy the old order. You transcended it. Emma watched as another group of students emerged from their first awakening, their minds touching the quantum realm consciously for the first time. Their wonder, their joy, their sudden understanding of connection. It never got old. That's the real secret of humanity, she said softly. Not that we were special, but that we could show others they were special too. We didn't just wake up ourselves. We woke up the galaxy, Jason finished. And through the quantum network, billions of minds pulsed in agreement as the universe itself seemed to whisper. This was only the beginning.